तो आज है हम कोलकाता में श्रुतिनंदन स्टूडियो में, जहाँ पर एक साउंड इंजीनियरिंग और म्यूज़िक प्रोडक्शन कोर्स होता है 6 महीने का। और इस स्टूडियो में हमारा क्या क्या इक्विपमेंट्स है, इसके बारे में हम लोग पहला वीडियो कर रहे हैं। सो द फर्स्ट इक्विपमेंट हम लोग जो देखेंगे दैट इज़ द यूनिवर्सल ऑडियो 6176, विच इज़ अ लेजेंडरी चैनल स्ट्रिप, जिसमें वी हैव अ प्रीएम्प सेक्शन एंड वी हैव अ कंप्रेसर सेक्शन, and this is actually designed by Bill Putnam Senior, who is the father of recording जिसको हम समझते हैं। और we have a preamp section. Now this preamp is the 610 tube preamplifier from Universal Audio, and this is the 1176, the legendary 1176 compressor from Universal Audio, and this is not a software emulation, this is the original hardware. Okay, so what we have is, first is we have the tube saturation knob, or which is the tube preamp here, and we have the trim or the volume knob here. So if you want more tube saturation, you can put it more, और इसमें आप volume control कर सकते हो. Okay, and then we of course have a attenuation pad, and we have a phase switch here. And this switch is basically an impedance setting switch. So in these two impedance is for the microphone levels, and these are for the line level instruments. So you can set between which impedance you want. It gets a little bit of difference in the tonal quality. Then we have the line input jack, where you can put line instruments, and this is a small EQ. So this is basically 4K, 7K and 10K, where you can select the frequencies and you can set the EQ here by 2 dB or 4 dB, whatever you want. तो ये यूनिट काफ़ी पुराना है, एक्चुअली इसका डिस्प्ले थोड़ा सा उठ चुका है यहाँ से. And this is 70 Hz, this is 100 Hz, and this is 200 Hz. So again you can do some low EQs here. If you want more, you can do it this side, or if you want less, you can bring it back. Now there we have the phantom switch, which is the plus 48 volt. If you want that, you can put it on, or if you don't want, you can just put it like that. This is the main on-off switch. And then there is a very important part, which is this join and split switch. Basically, you can separate these two modules. You can have a separate preamplifier, and you can have a separate preamplifier output, and you can have a compressor, you can have a separate compressor output. So if you want to split it, then you can split it from here. And normally in this studio I'm using it as joint, so I'm using with the compressor, so I will put it into joint mode. And then we have the compressor. This is 1176 compressor, so we don't have a threshold knob, we have an input knob here, which is this guy. And after the input we have the attack and release. Now we have to remember that in 1176 the attack release works differently. Like normally in other compressors, the lowest portion is it basically measures in time. So in the lowest settings we get less time, and in the maximum settings we get more time. But in this case we have numbers. So if you put it in 1, then it is slow attack, and if it put it in 9 or 10, that is fast attack. So that is how we measure the full-on attack and release time here. And we have a release knob also for the release sections. So this is slow and this is fast. This is also written here. Okay, of course this is the selector of the meter कि हम कौन सा meter देखेंगे. This is the preamplifier. When you are setting the levels for the preamplifier, you will select this. If you want to see the level of the compressor, this is this. And if you want to select the gain reduction, then you can put this here, and you can see the gain reduction, and the needle has gone up to 0 here. Now this is the important part where this is basically the ratio. Now the good thing is that if you don't want the compressor to work, then you can put this into join mode, and yet if you just bypass the ratio, तभी आप इसको बिना compressor के record कर सकते हो, because then only the output knob is working, because it is giving the output to the your sound card. But if you are using the compressor, it is only using when you are putting it onto a ratio, because without the ratio this compressor is not working. So it has a bypass mode, and it also has a 1:1 ratio mode, which basically adds a little bit of push, which I like it personally. So that was the 1176 and the 610 preamp. Both together, we call it the Universal Audio 6176 channel strip.